Welcome back to the channel anime fans, and today we're going to be looking at the old classic Ghost in the Shell. This is going to be a spoiler-full recap, you've been warned. With that, let's get into it. The film opens in Newport City, where a 208 is happening. We see a woman eavesdropping on some important-looking people on top of a skyscraper. They're talking about a program having bugs. The woman steps down, before jumping off the building very dramatically. We see police moving through the hotel, as the executives inside prepare to fight them. The executive is apparently a diplomat, trying to get a programmer to come over to his country. Right as he's explaining how important he is, he gets his head blown off by the woman from before. The police try capturing the woman, who makes her body transparent, blending with the scenery. Then, we cut to the opening credits. We see a lab, where a machine is being diagnosed by some scientists. This robot is the woman, and we see her get examined with more nudity than I've seen in some hentai. She wakes up in an empty room overlooking the city. We cut to two old men meeting in an airlift. Aramaki gets thanked for helping the government with a tricky diplomatic situation, which definitely doesn't mean anything good. We cut to the doctor entering a lab, investigating one of the victims of a criminal called the Puppet Master. The woman from before is there, and we find out her name is Major Motoko. We cut to a small convoy, with Motoko explaining the Puppet Master's origins to the driver. We cut to what looks like a small food street, with a trash man complaining about his cheating wife as he does his job. He's hacking into a terminal to spy on her, after a mysterious stranger shows him how. Yeah, we all know where this is going. The police arrive at the terminal, before realizing it was the trash truck that had hacked into the terminal. Motoko plugs into her convoy, before starting to track the truck down. It takes all of 10 seconds before the truck drivers realize they're being chased. The driver tries to warn the man who helped him, but the man guns his truck down, before confronting the police. He goes invisible and tries to flee the scene. The police corner him in a small building, and he tries blending into what looks like a busy market. Despite being literally invisible, he runs into some people, knocking them over and giving himself away basically instantly. Not the smartest guy around. He jumps into a river, parkours over some boats, and runs down an alley. Just when he thinks he's finally escaped, he gets confronted by Motoko, who is invisible like before. The man's taken off his jacket, so he can't go invisible anymore. This fight plays out about as well as you think fighting someone invisible will go. Motoko goes out of her way to beat him up. The cops quickly realize that the man has been hacked and that he can't tell them anything. We cut to the garbage man being interrogated by the police. We see that he has been hacked and that all of his memories are actually fake, including his cheating wife. The man doesn't believe that all of his memories are a simulated experience. He has a nervous breakdown when he realizes the truth. We cut to Motoko diving in the middle of a lake. She gets back on top of a boat. Apparently, this is what she enjoys doing in her free time. Later that day, we see her and her buddy idly gazing out over the city. Motoko tells us that it's when she's underwater that she feels the most emotions. The two talk about how their being machines give them ridiculous benefits, such as drinking as much alcohol as they want without hangovers. The two hear Motoko's voice, though evidently, she's as surprised by this as anyone else. Then we cut back to the city, during the day. Motoko is riding through the city on a boat, watching the people live their lives. Sad music plays in the background. I'm sure there's a message here somewhere. We then see the top of a bridge, and a naked woman is standing in the rain. She stays still as an oncoming truck comes in and crashes into her. She wakes up in what looks like a lab, with the police watching over her. The police are trying to hack into her as she stares suspiciously at Motoko. Apparently, this woman is a complete cyborg, not human at all. While this woman isn't really a person, apparently she still has a ghost inside her, one that's not supposed to be there. The police puzzle over this, wondering if she really did have a ghost inside her at all. Being able to hack a top-secret government project in a world where half the police are robots is a pretty big threat. Motoko really wants to get to the truth of all this. Motoko questions if she and the robot that came in are a little too similar. She wonders if maybe she was a robot too, even if she does have some human brain cells inside her. The doctor gets visited by a government official, who has come to take the body away before they can pry into it anymore. One of the cops has a bad feeling that the officials didn't come here alone, something about them feels a little off. He thinks that they brought in someone invisible with them. We cut to the officials surveying the girl's body, going through her head. They find out that the girl is actually the product of the Puppet Master. Apparently, the government had lured the Puppet Master into implanting his own psyche into the cyborg, before somehow killing his real body. As they debate what to do with him, the body starts to speak. The puppet master tells them that they aren't nearly as smart as they think. Apparently, he's never actually had a real body at all. Instead, he's an artificial soul. He wants political asylum and claims that he is just as alive as everyone else. He destroys all the electronics in the room before breaking out. He gets into a car and starts to drive away. Just as he's about to drive away, one of the police shoots a tracker into his car. The police try to chase him down before the government can. Makoto gets ready to do just that, getting inside a helicopter. The government officials wonder why one of their projects has ended up going rogue. The police chase the puppet master all through the city, surveying him with the tracker from before. The police don't take that long to figure out that the government is the one behind all of this, and that they're trying to sweep their own mess under the rug. The puppet master and his men use a dummy car to try to fool the police, as they slowly surround them. They set up a police barricade in front of their car, before penning them in. One of the men dies one of the more brutal deaths I've seen before they try following the second car. The police call for backup for Makoto, who's now chasing the real target all on her own. The car stops by a large hangar, and Makoto jumps off the helicopter to the roof of the hangar. She breaks in through a door at the top, before slowly sneaking inside. She watches over the lone car before she gets spotted by something large and invisible. Apparently, this is where we find out that tanks can be invisible too, and one of them is in this hangar. Makoto wants to do this mission all on her own because the police won't let her investigate the puppet master if they get to it first. She readies herself to fight the tank, which is polite enough to let her prepare. In her suitcase, she has enough weaponry to fund a small army, and she uses it to start the fight. Somehow, it's an even match between her and the tank, which is again, polite enough to let her slowly reload her gun. Time is running out, and 3 helicopters are making their way over to the hangar. Makoto runs from column to column, with the tank doing more damage to the building than it ever did to her. Eventually, it runs out of bullets. The last guy pops out of the car, looking around just before a grenade takes him out. Makoto uses her invisibility to climb on top of the tank, before trying to open the hatch. She strains as hard as she can, but her arms literally explode before she manages to do that. The tank picks her up, squeezing her head in its hand before Makoto gets saved by her bud. The puppet master is still inside the car, and Makoto asks to dive inside the puppet master's head. The helicopters are getting closer and closer, getting ready to blow the hangar to shreds. Makoto dives into the puppet master's head, and we see her looking out from his eyes. The puppet master then starts to share his story. Apparently, he is a government project who at some point gained sentience. Makoto and the puppet master start to talk, and he reveals that he has been trying to talk to her all along. He has a lot to explain to her. He reasserts that he is as sentient as anyone else, but he cannot reproduce. Apparently, he wants the two of them to merge. The helicopters are watching over the hangar, and Makoto wonders what the point of all of this is. Apparently, the puppet master believes that this is the only way to make them truly alive, by having real offspring. Makoto isn't exactly enthusiastic, since she still wants to be herself at the end of all this. The puppet master tells her that he picked her because the two are very alike. He tells her that he is connected to a massive network, and yet he has still been suppressed by human beings. He wants to transcend his limits, and he can only do it with the help of Makoto. The two bodies get destroyed by bullets from the helicopters. The helicopters get chased away by helicopters from the police. We then cut to an empty room, cutting to a tiny version of Makoto, strapped to a small sofa. The doll looks around, as her buddy walks in. Even her voice is different now. He explains that the whole situation has been explained away as a terrorist attack and that everything else has been taken care of. Makoto is silent for a while before she gets offered this place to stay. She refuses, saying that she still has some things to do. Her buddy wonders if Makoto is still who she used to be and whether she and the puppet master are still together. Makoto asserts that she is not who she used to be, and she's not the puppet master either. Makoto stares out over the city, wondering what she will do with her life. We see a wide shot of the city, ominous music buzzing in the background. Then, we cut to the credits, almost more curious than when we started. That's it for the movie. Let me know what you thought of this wild ride, and whether you have as many questions as I do at the end.